Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Aaliyah and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to traveling, if you're in a group or if you're traveling solo, so keep on watching. Let's get right into it. I want to start off by saying if you stumbled on this video, congratulations. You are finally starting to travel or you have traveled before. Traveling is so amazing. I would recommend everyone doing it, literally. So groups are hard. Lucky for me, my group is very easy. Thank God. I have been traveling with the same group for about 5 years now. The first step if you are traveling in a group is to travel with friends. Travel with people that you know or people that you trust. You don't want to be in a group with people that you don't know just because, you spent a lot of money going someplace and you want to make sure that you're around a group that you can vibe with. So definitely traveling with somebody that you know or in a group that you know. And again, if you are here because you are, let's just say, the group leader, your first step is actually not to make everything just about you. What you say does not go. I wouldn't say I learned this the hard way because I definitely am a very inclusive person, but it can come off sometimes when you are making plans for your group very me-ish rather than like groupish. So just like how there's no I in team, there's no I in group. So what you say does not go. So make sure that you're communicating with your group and that everybody is on the right page. For the person planning, budgeting is very important. So making sure that your group knows what they're paying for, staying, how much money they're going to be spending, although at the same time, you're not too sure how much everything is going to be. So roughly telling your group how much they're planning to spend, so $200 to $600 would actually help them out rather than just saying, guys, let's book right now, the prices have dropped. So it makes more sense to let everybody know what they're paying for and how to plan for it and how to save for it. So as keeping the budget organized, keeping your group organized, sometimes you'll get a lot of fallout. So if you're traveling in a big group, like I do, it's sometimes hard to make sure that everybody is on the right page. So you might actually have a friend or two that might drop out of your plans, which can become very frustrating. And it's frustrating because if you were telling people, okay, this is the price for this, let's just say for the Airbnb, and somebody drops out, this actually increases the price for everybody else. So yeah, that could be very frustrating, but try not to let it get the best of you because you're still traveling with a smaller group, which is actually very easy, well, easier, I would say. So if somebody drops out, it just actually makes things a little bit more easier. When it comes to buying things in advance, I would definitely say buy your tickets in advance rather than like Airbnb or your hostels. Buying your ticket in advance actually does save you a lot of money. I would recommend maybe like 6 months in advance if you can. And also not buying during peak periods. So peak periods are like, let's just say, beginning of summer, December, Christmas time, any of the holiday peak periods. So like Easter, Valentine's Day is actually pretty cheap. I'm pretty surprised, unless you're going to like Vegas or something, then it's super expensive. But so traveling at the beginning of the year also can be pretty expensive. So I would definitely say, I know it sounds like I just named every month of the year, but going in like May or like June, July, if you're really up for it, I love to travel in July. So traveling in July is still fine. As long as you buy your ticket in advance, you should still save some money there. Traveling in September is really good. So yeah, definitely picking when to buy your tickets and how much that you're spending your tickets is really important to do way in advance. So if you have gotten this far in this video, you are contemplating on buying that ticket, but you are not sure, this is the point where you should definitely try to get travel insurance. I have done travel insurance maybe once, and that's because I wasn't too sure if I can get off of work. I actually did. For those who maybe have a tight schedule at work or you're not sure, a family member is sick, you're taking that risk of traveling around this time, it can be risky and you don't want to lose out thousands or hundreds of dollars. So travel insurance is pretty good because you can be a little bit more flexible when it comes to changing your flight or canceling your flight. You can get travel insurance with the company that you're booking for or booking with. Just make sure that when you're reading the end of your confirmation that there's actually sort of like a checkbox that you can actually do travel insurance. Sometimes it's actually already checked for you and then you get to the cash out and you realize like, damn, like how did this get so expensive? So also if you're not trying to do travel insurance, to make sure that you're unchecking that box, because a lot of times it can be very tricky, especially on independent travel sites. You're not actually seeing the boxes. You're so excited to pay for it. So yeah, accommodation. Accommodation is something I do very last minute, and I don't know if I have a really big trick for accommodation because I majority of the time stay in Airbnb. I do not like doing 7-day like all-inclusive trips. I've done it maybe like 3-4 times. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan because I actually really do. What was this? I'm not a fan of it because I actually really do love exploring, and not to say that I can't explore on a beach, but I feel like everything is there for you. So it's like, why would you leave? You get free food, free this, free that. So it's kind of hard to just say like, oh, do I want to spend money to go out? So I just prefer to actually book in a very touristy, popular area, and that actually helps me out because I get to try, I get to explore the culture, I get to try out the food, and majority of the times I actually have a better time doing that. So as for Airbnb, I wouldn't say that there is any peak period where it actually goes down. I personally find Airbnb does not go down. If anything, it actually goes up. So when it comes to booking that, I pretty much book that, I wouldn't say last minute, but maybe months after I buy my flight ticket, just because it gives other people, if you're traveling in a group, it gives other people some time to save money, maybe pay off that ticket off their visa, and then they can focus on accommodation and stay. When it comes to hostels, you can honestly book those anytime. If you're a solo travel, I 100% would recommend doing a hostel because it's so easy to meet people, especially you being solo. It's really good to get to know everybody else because they're also there to do the same thing like you, which is explore. Being in a hostel is really, really fun if you're just trying to make new friends, meet new people, explore with these people. And majority of the time, these people have been there before you, which is really good. So if you have any questions, you can ask them and they can definitely tell you what to spend your money on, how to save your money. I would also still recommend doing a hostel for groups. If you're a little bit picky about sharing your space with hundreds of people, or maybe not hundreds, maybe like 45 people, I don't know, then that's something that you would have to obviously consider. So once everyone has their tickets is when I would then start considering where to stay. And that kind of pretty much ties into what I had mentioned before. This is because now I know everybody in my group is in. If I book my Airbnb right after my flight, yes, it could be tricky, but it also requires you to stay on top of things because if somebody does actually cancel, you're just paying everybody back. People have to pay you more. It could just be very chaotic, and who's to say that's not going to happen if somebody does buy the flight ticket, but it's less likely to happen because, yeah, I just felt like it's less likely to happen. So once the ticket and stuff is out of the way, you can then start focusing on the Airbnb and your accommodation. That way you know who's actually down and who's actually going because they have already paid for the flight ticket. And again, if you are traveling in a group, so I travel in a group of 6 always. I think this year we're going, I muted it last time because I accidentally said where I was going. I'm not gonna say in this video where I'm going. I'm gonna leave it as a surprise. But we're a group of 6 this time again. Just one more person kind of changed. We're a group of 6, and I don't know, when it comes to traveling in a group of 6, you actually want to make sure that you guys are, what's the word I'm trying to say? Message the owners. This is what I think I'm trying to say. Message the owners. You know, you're traveling in a group of 6. People travel in a group of 6. The Airbnb owners are thinking, okay, these people are here to party. They're here to wreck my house. They're most likely not going to accept you. This has never happened to me because I took the step of actually messaging the owners. So I would 100% message the owners. It not only saves you time in case you are getting declined from different houses, it also lets the owner get to know you guys a little bit more. So I would mention, you know, I'm traveling in a group of 6. We're all students. Ding, ding, ding. We're all students. This will definitely help you. We are, I don't know, doctors. I don't know. Say anything because this actually does help. It actually leaves the owners at ease. So they don't think that you're going to like destroy their place or anything. So yeah, I would definitely recommend messaging the owners maybe prior to booking, not after booking, because I'm pretty sure your payments go through and then it's like if you choose not to go there anymore. I don't know. Just make sure you're messaging the owners before booking. Majority of times they answer within a couple hours, maybe a few days. But every person that I have encountered on Airbnb have been amazing. I stayed in Florida with 5 girls maybe, and we stayed at the most beautiful house. Oh my God, so much land. And I messaged the owner, and the minute we got there, she had a whole basket for us with foods, fire camping stuff, and like marshmallows and drinks. Oh my God, it was so amazing. So getting to your owners is really good because, you know, they have a soft spot for you. They want to make sure that, you know, you're going to their house, and let's say you're celebrating maybe an anniversary. So it's really cute that they actually do a lot of things for you when you message them in advance. Now that you have gone this far in this video and you have booked your flight and you have booked your accommodation, your next step is to actually let everyone know in your group where they are staying. This is very, very important for like let's just say it's very important for like 3 reasons. One reason for TSA, when you're going through security, you do have to split up. Sometimes you can go in a group, but it can be alarming or like overwhelming if you're like 6 people standing at one officer's table. So majority of times you do have to split up. So you don't want to be that person like, girl, what's the address? I sent it to you through your phone. Check your phone. But I'm already here. You know, you don't want to be that person. So making sure that your group actually has the address of where they're staying is really important. 2, if they get lost, you don't want them to be like, shit, like, I hope she has Wi-Fi. You know, like, you don't want to be that person. This is so funny. You don't want to be that person. So making sure that you have it in your phone. When I went to Barbados, I made sure that everyone actually had, well, I always give like goodie bags because I am like, I would say the trip planner. Although everybody like chips in, and that's how I love it like that because it relieves my stress. But I got everybody t-shirts when we went to Barbados, and I got them all custom made with everyone's names on it. I did a wine glass and a mini backpack, and I had the address, like a piece of paper with the address on it. And at the same time, I texted everyone, making sure that they had the address. So address is very important, so they know that. So another hack when it comes to Airbnb, and to be honest, I have been testing this out for quite some time, but it can be tricky because, like I said, if you're not messaging your owners, it could be very messy. If you're traveling in a group of 6, majority of the times that you could fit into an accommodation that suits 4 people. That is because you can do 2 bed, and a couch. However, sometimes, and this has happened, I think, to me once, we were one more extra person, and yes, there was space for that person, but because they were not on the Airbnb list, it was an issue. The person had let us pass. This was maybe my first trip. I think Costa Rica. I can't remember. The owner had let us pass, but it's important that if you're gonna take this risk, you have to know the consequences, because they're not always gonna be nice. They're gonna say, okay, well, this person, although I did get the money, which is it's so stupid, right? They got the money. They're still kind of like, well, now you're an extra person that's coming into my house, so it's kind of like you didn't tell me this, you know? So you don't want to break the trust with the owners, because you do not want to be on the streets, or you do not want to have to leave that place and have to get in a hotel, which, by the way, you lose so much money from the Airbnb and you have to pay money for the hotel. So yeah, messaging your owners and make sure you know the consequences of taking that risk. I personally still do it because there's room for them, and I would most likely say like, hey, we're 6 people, but your house says suits for, I don't know, whatever number, but there's a couch here, 2 people can stay there, 2 people can stay there. We're totally okay to do this, but somebody does have to compromise. So if you are in a group where one person is like, sure, I'll sleep on the couch or whatever, then this makes it easier. But if everyone's like, no, I want a bed, I don't want a couch, then it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense doing this, because you want good energy if you're traveling on a trip. You don't want to be like, well, everyone said that they want a bed but you, and then the person's like, well, I didn't even know. Like, you know, you don't want to be like that. So make sure that everyone's okay with that one person sleeping on the bed. Maybe you guys can shift, you know, a couple of nights, do like, you know, the person who slept on the bed last night can sleep on the couch this time, like something like that. So who sleep on the couch? However, it can be costly if you are at an Airbnb, because yes, you guys have to eat. So when it comes to eating, there's 2 things I would definitely recommend. Eat the local food. Not only is it cheaper, but I find it so authentic and so amazing, and you don't have to be in the kitchen slaving other than like breakfast or something. So definitely eat the local food. 2, I would recommend, and this sort of ties into actually money and currency, I would recommend telling your group that they should ask the bank or wherever they're getting their money from for smaller bills. Everyone has large bills. It actually makes it more difficult. Majority of the time, the islanders, I was gonna say foreigners. These islanders are most likely not going to take a $50, whoa, what's a $30 bill? They're not gonna take a $50 bill. They're not gonna take a $100 bill. They don't even have change for it sometimes, and then you're stuck there like, well, I just gave you like a $70 tip. Like, you don't want to be that person. So I always tell my group to travel in 20s and 10s and 5s, whatever you can get from the bank or from the airport if you're changing your currency there. Make sure that it's small bills. And I say this because if you are buying groceries, it actually makes it easier for everyone to chip in. If everyone has to pay like $15, then that's cool because everyone gets $15 and they have the change for it. They have the ones for it. If everyone has like a $20 bill, you're stuck with owing this person money until you can break down your smaller bills. And then this person is now less of change. It kind of gets messy, and you don't want to like sort of do the e-transfer method also, because if one person is paying for all of the groceries and you guys are all e-transferring that person back, yes, they got their money, but now they're short of actual currency money, which kind of leaves them out to like always have to seek the nearest bank, and that can be frustrating. So with that being said, carrying more cash is going to be a little bit better for you, but also making sure that your cash is in smaller bills, because it just leaves everybody stress-free when it comes to paying people back. I've had personal experience where that could be so messy. I know a lot of people normally get like 20s and 50s at the bank, and I remember one time my friend had paid for everything, and like she literally had no more money like by like the second day. It was like everyone else had all this cash to spend because they weren't paying her back right away until they broke their money, and it could just be confusing. So make sure that you have smaller bills. Sometimes people also like to travel with their debit or credit card. I actually travel with my Visa card rather than my debit. I mean, I carry my whole wallet with me. If you're okay with spending money on your Visa, just know that when you're like, make sure that it's a bigger business, I would say. Like local shops, sometimes they can take a Visa, but you don't really want to do that, especially because some places actually require you to pass their card. And if you're like, let's say, I don't want to say someplace because then it's like, well, I'm like sort of singling out that country, but you don't want to just be like giving people your card. So that's why I would say I would prefer cash. However, there is sometimes, of course, that you're going to need your Visa. Let's say if you run out of cash, you need to take money out. So carrying your Visa is really good. But when it comes to that, you actually want to let your bank know that you are traveling. I feel like I have this problem every single time I travel. I go to New York pretty much every year for their carnival. I've been going the last 4 years. I always end up using my card because sometimes I like to keep my smaller bills if I have it, just because, like I said before, you want to just be like, oh, this is $1, here you go, So when it comes to like larger payments, I would use like my Visa or my debit card, and I can't even count how many times that I've been in New York and my card is like frozen. And I'm like, dude, like how many times do I have to call the bank and tell them that I'm away? Like, you guys know I go around this time all the time, every year. So I'm on the phone like this in the store, like, okay, can I just pay for this now? Like, can you guys just like process this? And it's just so frustrating. So definitely calling the bank prior to traveling and telling them that like you're using your Visa, your debit card. Again, when it comes to currency, I do not recommend changing your currency at the airport. However, if you are a last minuter, that's not a word, but I'm gonna make it a word today. If you're a last minute person, you're gonna have no choice to change your currency at the airports, but changing your currency very early, not early, but maybe like 2 weeks in advance, because a lot of the times the bank does not have the money that you are requesting. US money for sure, Canadian money for sure, but like if you're trying to order like pesos and like, I don't know, like different kind of currency, you want to make sure that the bank actually has that money, because sometimes they do take a few business days to actually get the money, and then they will call you and then you would pick that money up. So yeah, making sure that those things are in order 2 weeks before you're traveling. Hey. So if you have gotten this far in this video, we have talked about flights, when to book, we talked about accommodation. Jalen, come, this is what I had told you. So you're coming out, come out, because now like I can hear the noise. We have talked about accommodation. We have talked about eating the local food, how to spend money, currency. So now if you're this far into this video, now let's talk about actually planning now that you are finally arrived in wherever you're traveling to. So yeah, let's get right into this next section of the video. So now that you have arrived, you're probably thinking what to do next. As you could tell in this video, and maybe like in my get to know me, you'll know that I'm a Virgo, so I plan a lot. I make sure that everything is to the T, how I want it to go, although things don't always go your way. But when it comes to traveling, I am not a planner, and that's because not only do I like to go with the flow, but for me, planning ahead of time is good, but nothing ever really goes as planned. And to be really honest, I personally don't like buying everything in advance. Let me get comfortable because this is a good topic. Oh, but let me explain why, okay? So having a daily schedule actually keeps everyone organized on what they have to do or what they need to do for that day, that week, that 2 weeks that you're there, however long. However, I personally do not recommend buying packages and excursions prior to traveling. And a lot of people do this because they think, oh, like, I want to make sure that we're doing this when we're there, that when we're there. But listen, you actually do get tired when you're traveling. You're in a different time zone, maybe, you know, the temperature, you know, it's humid, it's rainy, who knows, like, you know, what you're encountering. And sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes you're saying, okay, we booked this in the day and this in the afternoon. After the whole day like is finished and you have the next event, you're tired as hell, and most likely you're not going to want to go. So really, truly, trying to book things in advance actually does not save you any time. It actually makes you lose money. I personally plan my trips a little bit differently, and this is because I'm taking account for actually being tired from doing a lot of things throughout the day. You know, I like to get up very early if I'm traveling because I want to make the best of the day. So by like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm exhausted. And you know, those are the times where I most likely I don't want to do things, but that's also a time where like the sun's going down and like a lot of excursions are happening. So it kind of like doesn't really make sense for my group and for me personally. So I have a really good example for you guys. I traveled to Costa Rica maybe about 3-4 years ago, and we were thinking of buying a lot of the excursion prior to actually leaving. And oh my God, I am so happy that we didn't, because we went, we did the AV, what is that called again? Like the AV, the little car thing. Oh my God, I'm like drawing a blank. But I know it's like the first 2 words I'm right. Anyways, we did that. We did, oh my God, that day was so beautiful. We did zip lining. Yes. And we also did, we were just one day just randomly on a beach. And this guy just kept going up to all these tourists. So we were in a very touristy area. We were in Jaco.
Ah, no, man.
That's so fun. Came up to us. Mind you, these islanders are hustlers, okay? They want your coin. They came up to us and they were just like, okay, we have this package going on, $70, all you can eat, cruise ship thing, and it's like a boat, like kind of like a, I don't want to say a yacht because it's definitely not close to a yacht, but they had sort of like the upper deck, whatever thing. And you guys can go snorkeling. Everything is provided on the boat. We have food, dinner, sunset, and we were just like so skeptical, but the guy was very informative and he wasn't pushy, and that is how you'll get a sale from me. If you're very pushy and you're just like, please, 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 I'm most likely not going to stop. I think it's very annoying. But anyways, he was amazing. He was really good, great salesperson. Cha-ching, he got my money. He got all of our money, all 6 of our money. And it was the most amazing time, but it was so beautiful. I had such an amazing time. And like I said, we saved so much money because that same trip was like $200 and we paid like $70. The same ziplining AV thing, like that was so cheap when we got there, and we got a great deal for being in a group of 6. So like I said, you don't actually need to be booking things in advance unless you know that it's something that actually sells out very quickly. Let's say maybe it was like a volcano thing, or like a show that was going on and you don't want to miss it, and it was like the one-time show and the next show is like in the next month, then those are things that I would definitely try to bank on. But other than that, you actually can save a lot of money with not planning in advance and getting there and just being very touristy, because you will get stopped in the street and a lot of people will try to sell you things. So another thing when it comes to this is being smart. Know your currency, okay? If you guys have an iPhone or an Android, download the currency app. You don't want to be a fool, guys. Please, you don't want to be a fool. If somebody tells you a bottle of water is 5 something in their currency, make sure that you know what it is in your currency, because you don't want to be that person that just give $10 for water, and you don't want to be that person that's like, okay, here you go. Like, you want to question it, and they're most likely going to be like, okay, $2, okay, $1. Because if you look at them, you're just like, $5, you know, like $5. They'll know that you're not stupid, you know, and they know that you know their money to the T. And yeah, so don't be that person. Make sure that everyone has a downloaded app on their phone, or at least one person, since you're traveling in a group. If you're traveling solo, make sure you get an app. It'll definitely help you not get scammed. So yeah, so plan as little as possible. I feel like everyone in my group is so good at negotiating, so we're really good. So yeah, just nominate one person to be the negotiator and you'll be good. Don't say yes to everything, you know. You have traveled to New York before. I think this actually would sort of like ring a bell when I give this little example. But if you realize in New York, a lot of people are trying to sell you sort of like the upper deck buses, and you would see literally like 7 people on one corner doing the same exact thing. You could finish talking to one person and the next person right after you talk to them would try to sell you the same thing but in their version. So don't say yes to everything, because majority of the time, if you can go down the street, you'll find somebody else that's going to sell it for you for cheaper. So don't say yes to everything. Keep in mind who you spoke to, and always go back to that person if you feel like, you know, you walk down the street, let's just say, and that person is more expensive. So just, yeah, don't say yes to everything. So now that those things are covered, I pretty much want to jump in straight into like those who travel solo. So I feel like the same things that I've said earlier still apply. However, you do want to stay safe, and you never want to tell anyone that you're alone when you're traveling. If you're traveling and you're staying in a hostel, you do meet people. So you'll most likely try to go out with them and explore with them if you have connected with them right off the bat. So that is really good. So again, I would definitely recommend doing a hostel like I have said before, because with Airbnb, although you do have your own space, you are seen going in. You think nobody is watching, but trust me, people are actually watching. You're going in and out of the same place every single day. You're with yourself or by yourself, every single day. People are going to notice wherever you're staying. If there's like a security guard, they're going to notice. And not to make you scared or anything, but I still think you'll have a better time at a hostel. You have a funner time. You'll have more fun for sure. This applies to solo travelers as well as people who travel in groups, but you want to keep everything on you. So that includes your money, your passport, your healthcare card, you know, things that are very valuable for you to where you live currently, because you don't want to keep that in your suitcase. And if you have a lock in your suitcase, then 100% I would recommend, I always travel with a lock on my suitcase, because I don't want people to go in my suitcase, and if there's any problems, they could get me to open it up in front and I can see them doing that, because people steal your stuff, you know. Like if your suitcase is open and there's an officer in the airport, they'll take your stuff. Sorry to break it to you, they will take your stuff. And majority of the time, you're not going to realize that top is missing until you want to wear it. That's just the reality of it. So again, if it applies to solo travelers and group travelers, make sure that you have everything on you. Just because you're in a hotel, an Airbnb, or a hostel doesn't mean that they can actually not take your stuff, you know. The door is locked, but everyone has a key to get into your place, because of course, if you're thinking about it, there is like people who actually clean the room. So of course they're going to be in and out of your room. So you want to just keep an eye on the things and where you place them before you left. You don't want to leave your laptop out. You don't want to leave your I don't know, whatever out, valuables out. You know, if the accommodation provides you with a lock, and it's one of those locks where you actually have to choose your code, use it. If it's a lock where the code is provided for you, I would kind of be iffy about that. So definitely travel with a lock in your bag, your suitcase, just to prevent from things going missing. With that being said, the only thing that's the downfall is that you are traveling with your life in your backpack. So if you lose it, it can be bad, but just be responsible. Like, you know, my best friend, she is so great at losing things. Oh my gosh, it's like insane. One day we went to a bank and we bought the groceries, and she just put the groceries on top of the bank machine, and she left it there. And of course I trusted her I didn't have to look back, but she left it there and we had to walk back, and the eggs and the bacon and all that was still there. So it's just, you know, it's just little things, you know, when a lot is happening, you know, you just lose like track of things. You know, you might put your bag there to get something, and you know, you don't realize to look back, and just be cautious about all these stuff, you know. So you want to keep track of your money and your spending. You don't want to have your money maybe separated, so some in your purse, some in your suitcase locked, because, you know, I feel like keeping track of your money is really important. You want to know what you're spending your money on. You want to keep counting it every single night to make sure that you're on track. You don't want to wait till you have like $50 and be like, shit, like there's like 6 days left or 4 days left and you have $50, because then you'll start to realize you're kind of like cheap with your money. You're going to start to be like, oh, I'm not hungry today. Oh, I'm not thirsty. Beach? No, it's okay. I don't want to go to the beach. You don't want to do nothing if you're broke. So make sure you're counting your money every single night and make sure that you're drawing down what you're spending, okay? So my last few advices would definitely be to work overtime, 1 month or whatever. If you're a hustler, work before you travel. And the reason why I say this is because when you're done traveling, I personally like to travel from 10 days to 2 weeks, never less, maybe more, but it depends right now. Want to work because when you come back from your trip, you will be broke. If you're taking 10 days to 2 weeks, that's normally a pay period. So your paycheck, oh, you know what? Sometimes it could be like off. So it's like the week, 2 weeks before would be your paycheck for the 3 weeks later. Anyways, if it's like that, sometimes it could be a very low paycheck. So you find yourself sort of struggling to get back on track. So I would definitely recommend just working and definitely having your money and your savings and everything 100%, so that way when you come back, if you do have to spend an extra little bit of cash, it's okay because you worked it off before. You don't want to come back broke. It's like the worst thing ever. Another thing too is that we cannot predict the weather. So just because you're traveling in a hot place doesn't mean that it's going to be hot every single day. Travel with jeans, travel with leggings, travel with a sweater. A sweater. Oh my god, a sweater. Am I going crazy? You know, sometimes there's like these words that you're just like, is sweater, why is it pronounced like this? Why am I saying it like this? A sweater. Yeah, okay, a sweater. Anyways, I'm gonna just travel with something that you can put over your body. Because you don't want to be that one person without a jacket and it's freezing cold, okay? And you have to like buy things there. Just travel with everything. You know, overpacking can be a good thing and a bad thing because, you know, if you go over, you do pay. But just make sure you're packing efficiently, packing the things that you need and things that are important. You don't want to pack for the weather only. Oh my god. Weather. Am I going crazy? I must be going crazy. There might be shitty Wi-Fi, guys. There might be shitty Wi-Fi. I've been to places where the Wi-Fi is only in the lobby, and like, who stays in the lobby? Who's trying to be in the lobby? Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of shitty that the Wi-Fi is maybe not all over where you're staying. I went to Barbados with my friends last year, and the Wi-Fi was only in one room, which is the room that I was not in, which is the room that I should have been. But anyways, that's another story. So yeah, you kind of just want to be okay with it, really and truly. You're there to travel. You're there to have a good time. You're there to be with your friends. You're there to explore. You're there to put your phone down other than taking pictures, cute pictures for the gram. So that being said, if the Wi-Fi is shitty, just allow it. Just be okay with it because you're really not there to be on your phone, you know? And last but not least, do not expect things to go as smooth as possible. You know, your flight might be delayed. You might have a late check-in. You know, anything might happen that might set you off for your few days that you are spending in this different country. So with that being said, be stress-free. You know, you're traveling, you're soon there. And yeah, if you are a solo traveler, good luck. I'm joking. If you're a solo traveler, I hope that you have the best time, and I hope that my video has helped you out. If you are traveling in a group, I'm just gonna put this down because I'm done now. If you are traveling in a group and you are the group planner, or you're here because you want to start traveling, you know, I do again hope my video has helped you. Make sure that you are smart with traveling. Make sure that you're booking your things in advance. Make sure that you're booking off from work because you don't want to have that problem. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that I again helped you out, and I just said that 1,000 times, and I always do this at the end of my videos. Like, I need to get it together. I need to have a better outro. Is that what it is? Guys, I'm a small YouTuber. Outro. I still haven't even told anyone really that I started YouTube. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and watch my other videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.